Hello everyone. Starting from today, I want you to start using the word sufficient as you speak your English. The first thing that you need in order to start using a new word in your English is to understand what the word means. The second thing that you need in order to start using a new word in your English is to have the understanding of how different that particular word is from other words which also mean the same thing. For example, the word sufficient and the word enough both mean the same thing, but to improve the quality of your English, it is best to have an idea of when is it best to use the word sufficient and when is it best to use the word enough. The word sufficient tells us that something is enough to achieve a certain purpose. For example, let's say you enter a car dealership which sells cars that range from $10,000 to $20,000 and you have $20,000 in your bank account at that time. This means that the money you have is sufficient to buy any car you want in that dealership. Remember, cars which are sold in this dealership, their prices range from $10,000 to $20,000. So, if, for instance, you only had $15,000 in your bank account, then the money would not be sufficient for you to buy any car in the dealership. However, the money would be enough to buy a car from the dealership, even though not any car. Again, for example, let's say you are starting a project of building a house. According to calculations, the full project requires $50,000 for completion and you only have $20,000. But you want to start with the building project. In this case, the money that you have is not sufficient for the project, but it is enough to get the project started. Let us stay on the same example. So, the project of building the house requires $50,000 to complete, and you only have $20,000. Let's say, for example, the foundation of the house costs $8,000. In this case, the money you have is not sufficient for the full project of building the house, but the money is sufficient to complete the foundation of the house. We can also say the money is sufficient for the foundation, even though it is not enough to complete the project. One more example. Let's say the school announces a trip and they need a minimum of 50 learners to pay for the trip before they can give the trip a final approval. 2 days before the trip, the school then cancels the trip because only 35 learners have paid. In such a situation, the school management can say, "We decided to cancel the trip as we do not have a sufficient number of learners who have paid." On the same example, if 55 learners pay for the trip, the school management can say, "We now have a sufficient number of learners who have paid. Therefore, the trip is still on." Remember, guys, the more you watch and listen to my videos, is the more your English will improve. Tell your friends about this channel so that you can increase the number of people you speak English to. See you in my next English lesson.